Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I wanted to talk about Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson from a bit of a different angle today, because obviously a lot of people are excited about their upcoming fights against George Kambosos and Oscar Valdez, respectively, and they should be, because those are great matchups that every boxing fan should be excited about if they have a pulse and if they have a heart. But what I wanted to talk about was Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, two of the young American stars finally coming together on the same network with this, on the proverbial same side of the street. You know, could this be a potential mega fight down the road? Could this be something to look out for? And I want to talk about that. So let's start with Devin. So Devin Haney, he's over here playing Russian roulette in the lightweight division. You know, he's over here. Him and Bill Haney, they're on their Oakland pimp hustler shit. You know, finessing deals. You know, kind of just like playing Eddie Hearn and getting the best deal for themselves. So hey, respect to them, because they're playing the game and they're not letting the game play them. So you can't hate on what Bill Haney has done for his son and the position he's put him in, you know, being in this big fight with George Kambosos. But I think this has a much bigger impact long term than people realize. Like, for example, people are going to talk about the Kambosos fights, which is, you know, they should talk about that. But now that he's a top-ranked Bob Arum fighter and he's on the ESPN platform, Devin Haney now has a whole smorgasbord of opponents, from the likes of Vasily Lomachenko to, Shakur Stevenson to just plenty. I mean, even, you know, if you want to even go way lower down the pecking order, if you want to stay busy, fight like Jeremiah Nakatilia. You know, I know some people may not like that fight, but he's got a big win against Burchell, so even he's an option. But there's a lot of options for him at top rank, and if he's able to come through the George Kambosos fights, you know, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of mumblings about, you know, Devin maybe fighting Lomachenko if he comes past Kambosos. But who's to say that Bob Arum doesn't, you know, pull a royal flush from his proverbial deck of cards and make the all-American super fight between Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson at 135? I mean, let's not rule that out, because if Devin beats George twice, right, and becomes the first undisputed lightweight champion since Pernell Whitaker, right? You know, if you don't count Tio, because the whole franchise thing messed, you know, everybody had their own interpretation of that. But now it's going to be like clear-cut, definitive. There's no muddying up the waters. If he beats him, he becomes undisputed lightweight champion, the first one since Pernell Whitaker. He's now a star. He's fighting on ESPN, so that's a big feather in his cap. If Shakur beats Oscar Valdez, that's the signature win of his career. So these two will have the hype. They'll be at the peak of their hype at this point of their careers thus far. And who's to say that Bob Arum wouldn't match them together? I mean, could you imagine Devin the Dream Haney, you know, the man that was before he decided to turn pro? Many of you guys may not remember this, but like, could you imagine Devin Haney before he turned pro? He was actually the favorite to win the gold medal for the USA. A lot of people were actually kind of disappointed that he didn't go win the gold medal for the USA or compete in the Olympics. So could you imagine the guy that was favored to win the gold medal, if he enters the Olympics, against the other guy who actually got to the gold medal match and lost to Robeisy Ramirez and Shakur Stevenson? You know, these are, in many people's estimations, the two premier talents, young talents in American boxing. And I remember before Devin turned pro, when Shakur and Devin were both like in the early stages of their career, and Shakur was getting ready to turn pro, and Devin, I think, was already a pro, there was a lot of discussion about who would have the better career. You know, who was the better of the two talents? Was it Shakur or was it Devin? And I made a video about this years ago with my boy Alex, and I said that I've always thought the guy was Shakur. I've been on the Shakur Stevenson bandwagon since I met him in April of 2016, before he even went to the Olympics. But, you know, I would love that fight. And I would never put it past a genius promoter like Bob Arum to just absolutely pull a royal flush from his proverbial deck of cards. If Devin beats George and gets past him, and then boom, Shakur Stevenson and him are fighting. So I think it'd be a really, really interesting fight. You know, two of the best technical fighters in the sport. You know, Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought at 135 yet, so he would obviously have to move up. Maybe they could set up a scenario where like Shakur fights someone on the undercard of a Devin Haney main event, or Devin Haney fights someone on the undercard of a Shakur Stevenson main event, and they can set it up that way. But either way you cut it up, slice it, and dice it, I think it's a great matchup for the future. And I just wanted to throw this out there because you got to always be 10 steps ahead. You got to see things before they happen in boxing. And I really feel like this is one of those, chess moves that Bob Arum has in his pocket, that if things play out a certain way and certain things come to pass, it'll wind up happening. So I'm just saying, it's something to consider. Shakur is a very smart southpaw, understands his distance very well. I think he's an elite class boxer, A+ talent. Devin is very good. I'm not sure if Devin is great. We're going to find out when he fights George in hostile territory. I'm glad he's putting himself in this position to find out how great he is, because it actually means that everything Devin said in the past about wanting these fights is the truth. And anything I've said in the past negatively about Devin, I repent for it now, because any man of his caliber, any fighter of his caliber who has been in a privileged position for the most part in his career, that's willing to take short money, go to another country to fight for the titles, not just once, but twice. Betting on himself so much so to the point that he will fight a man in his backyard twice. I mean, a lot of guys will do it once, but how many would do it twice? Devin Haney's one of those guys. So respect to him, respect to Shakur Stevenson. If things do play out a certain way, remember I told you guys that don't just think that all roads, if Devin beats George, don't just think that all roads lead to Lomachenko. It's a very possible scenario that if Shakur looks a certain type of way in the Oscar Valdez fight and Devin beats George, that all roads could be leading to a Devin Shakur young American super fight. And I think, for me, that's something that boxing will benefit from greatly. So you guys leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.